It's actually a massive change for me. As you mentioned, a large part of my job is flying to different countries. Not that I enjoy the flying part of it, but it is essential in Asia, probably in a lot of other places in the world, but definitely in Asia as a territory, to be face to face, to build rapport with customers, to build friendships, to build some trust between you and people whilst you're doing business. And that in the past has always come from being very interactive with these people, going out, training them, doing meetings with them, doing installs, you know, sharing stuff. It's all been that's the way I've worked for a long time. So at the end of last year, I was obviously basically that was the last time I flew, and since then it has been very difficult. Yes, I'm working with different time zones, but obviously you can adapt when you wake up, go to sleep in this country. But ultimately not being in front of people and not being able to gauge, you know, their feelings and all the rest of it is quite difficult. I mean, I could never see it as a replacement. Maybe a bit more of remote, less flying would kind of work, but yeah, I mean, it is very difficult, and things have changed a lot. But one of the things that I have, I guess, been lucky enough in my territory to see is a recovery. Um, not in any great big game changing way, but you could say that China, South Korea, Taiwan are all really starting to pull themselves out of it, and other territories haven't been hit anywhere near as hard as we have perhaps in Europe and UK. Whether that was SARS and the whole fact that they were kind of pre-prepared, or that we didn't know what we were doing, or whatever it is, we've ended up in this situation. But it is very encouraging to see business picking up in those territories. You know, Ultimately, I think a lot of the projects that were in play pretty much got put on hold. It's not like everything's just fallen away and the world's fallen to pieces. Things have been delayed, and now it's very difficult to go, especially for my partners in different countries, to go face to face with their customers. So they're obviously sharing the same limitations. But people are going to need storage. People always need storage, and I think, you know, whilst we've all been held back and unable to do stuff, we've been sat there watching Netflix and Amazon and all the rest of it. We've consumed a lot of content. There's now a big demand for content, and as soon as people are allowed to do that, there will be a lot of effort in doing that. Perhaps not in this kind of toilet roll, you know, panic buying sort of way, which would be quite nice with storage. But I think it's realistic to say that those requirements will still be there and probably increase to a certain extent. And I think that the way that we've still been able to sell, our support departments are totally active, build, development, all the rest of it. We've been able to sell, we've been able to provide systems, we've been able to do deployments remotely. We've even been able to do a Cloak DR deployment remotely. It's very encouraging. It's not the way that I personally would choose to work, but I can work this way, and I think a lot of people, my colleagues, are all kind of experiencing similar things. On the subject of food, yes, that's probably been one of the most difficult parts of it. I actually cook at home quite a lot. I get quite homesick about Korean food and Japanese food and Filipino food. So I try to create it at home. I miss the restaurants in this country that did it, but ultimately it's nothing like the same as going there and experiencing it. And to be honest, I miss a lot of the people that I do business with. As I said, we've built friendships and rapport over a long time, big trust, but it just feels odd to not see them regularly. I mean, trade shows always used to be a good way of everybody getting together, and that golden opportunity to see all your customers in one spot rather than traveling all the world to see them. But not having those and not being able to go to countries and be able to do, go see customers and generate business and all the rest of it, it feels very strange.